want to ask you, Coach, about what Jimmy Butler said prior to this one. He says, they are not capable of playing defense. He asked how many games we were into this, then was asked if they are capable of changing that. He says no.
I disagree with Jimmy on that one. I understand his frustration because he comes from a background of where defense is very important, but Minnesota key players are still young players. This is still a very young team. Jimmy Butler and Taj Gibson were brought in to bring some leadership and some defense, and I understand his frustration, but those type of things you keep within the locker room. And if you're going to talk about the team defense, then start with yourself. It can't be all we. Either you're going to call names or you start with yourself and talk about the things that you need to do. And I'm a proponent of not talking about your teammates to the media.
Well, it seemed to at least work early on. The defensive, not only energy, but execution was there. What did you see?
Well, it helped that Devin Booker didn't play.
Yes, it did.
I mean, that had a lot to do with it. But when you look at this Minnesota team and you look at how good they are offensively, you look right here, bad defense. The scheme and system is fine right here, but Karl-Anthony Towns, he gets out of his stance. He allows the penetration out of double team. Then Andrew Wiggins has a poor closeout, and then they're beat for a layup. In this one, Karl-Anthony Towns got to be up. But Jimmy Butler on this one, he's got to bump the roll guy. He's in perfect position to help. Karl-Anthony Towns made a mistake. He could have bumped the roll guy and took away that lob right there. But here's good Timberwolves defense. You look at Taj Gibson. He's up. He's talking. Look at Tyus Jones. He beats the defender over the top. He gets back control. But then Gorgie Dang leaves his man and he helps. Now the Timberwolves are scrambling. If you watch their defense now, the shot clock is running down. Taj Gibson comes up. Tyus Jones is there. They could have switched, but he comes from behind, get the block. So what Jimmy said is not actually true. They are capable of playing very good defense. And John Wooden said this. The same attributes it takes to be a great offensive player are the same attributes it takes to be a good defensive player. The thing is, you got to make it a priority. And right now they're struggling defensively, but they're young. They're still a young team with young players.
Do you agree that that's the case? Because he seemed to imply that it was about the effort, not necessarily the execution.
Yeah, I agree. But the one thing that Sam could back me up on this is that if you've played for a coach before and you've had success somewhere else, and then you're on a new team with a bunch of new guys, your expectations are that you're going to play at the level that you were familiar with under the old coach. This is not that Chicago Bulls team with Noah as the backline defender, a defensive player of the year candidate for 3 or 4 straight seasons in Chicago. This team needs to learn the system. So as much as you're trying to implement offensively and get to know one another, which is what mostly young players are concerned with, defensively they have to get on the same page as well, Kristen. And the idea is throughout the season to improve. Here's Minnesota at 12-8. They've just got to continue to make the strides, and by looking at the playing time, Tom Thibodeau's giving them every opportunity in games with 38 minutes a night with these guys playing together to make that kind of improvement.
And the improvement from Karl-Anthony Towns on the offensive end is impossible.
But it's unrealistic to think that Karl-Anthony Towns is going to be Noah because they're two different players. Noah was not the offensive guy. He didn't have the offensive responsibility that Karl-Anthony Towns had. Here's the guy going to average 20 and 10 or 12 rebounds for you. Now, does he have to get better in pick and roll defense? All big guys have to. Does Andrew Wiggins have to continue to improve? Yes, he does. But to Bone's point, it's about the team defense and that concept. And that's the hardest thing for young players to learn, how to play good team defense. The offense is relatively easy.
Yeah,
but the defense is
there's no way that we would confuse those two players.
No.